Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
I had a question from one of our viewers. Can you talk a little bit about sleep in prison? How long did it take before you got a full night? I imagine it's uncomfortable as hell. Seems like it'd almost be impossible to sleep in an environment like that, always being on the edge. Are the strategies that inmates use to shut out stress? Do guards respect your rest, or do they fuck with you? And then also, I snore like a freight train, so what would be the etiquette for, being in a cell with another individual? Thanks for what you're doing. A big fan of the series. Man, I never had a good night's sleep in prison, man. I was always on edge. When I was at Rampart USP, they had cells and the doors would mechanical, so they would click a button and the doors would open up, and at any given time you could hear a cell opening up at night. You don't know what the fuck they were doing up in there, if the guards are gonna rush a motherfucker, or if somebody was getting taken to the hole, or if somebody had dropped a kite or told on somebody, or they were moving somebody because of some high power shit going on. There was a lot of shit happening in the middle of the night. So anytime you heard a cell click, you always jumped up. So you never really had a peaceful sleep. And Rampart had, the guards were called cowboys. The cowboys. The warden was the motherfucking chief, and they'd be fucking people up at night. If you were somebody who was in the mix and you shot caller, or they felt you were the big D boy up on there, they would handle your ass. So you were always on edge. As far as when I was in a dorm situation in San Bernardino County, and there was a bunch of motherfucking knuckleheads up in there, I slept with one eye open, and I had something in my hand all night. So if a motherfucker ran up, I'd just stick a motherfucker. That was just what it was. So I'd never had a good night's sleep in there, because it was just, too much movement. Any little thing, you got to be able to pick up on it, because, you never know what's going to happen. So the only time you really had a good night's sleep, and it wasn't even a good night's sleep, man. It was you'd be knocked out, maybe in the hole. You first got to the hole, or if it was a lockdown situation, and that they weren't going to be cracking the doors open for a while because they were doing investigations and shit like that, you'd maybe have a decent sleep. But the fucked up thing about those sleeps were you'd be dreaming you were free. And so you'd be all passed out thinking you're on the streets, and the door crack open and it's a motherfucking guard telling you to cuff up, put your motherfucking flip-flops on and come out. And it was just fucked up, man. So it was never a good night's sleep in prison. You're always on edge. As far as like, I used to try to meditate. Like I would try to, when I did, like during the day, sometimes take, have them, they lock the cell and I'd try to get a good nap in. I would try to meditate and like free my mind of my surroundings, so that I wasn't in prison. And sometimes I was able to actually feel like I was outside the prison walls. But the reality was, once I heard a noise, I immediately snapped out of it, and I was back in my surroundings, which were 1,000 barbarians. So the sleep was, it was always fucked up, man. And you didn't want to sleep too hard, sleep too hard anyways in prison. It wasn't like you were taking, sleeping additives or, things to help you sleep better, because if shit kicked off, you want to be able to get up and move. You had to be able to react quick. You couldn't be, out of it. You wouldn't try to sleep through something. If something happened, you want to have your ass up, have your boots on, and be ready for war. So, I didn't get good sleep until I got on the streets. As soon as I hit the streets, fuck, man, I'd pass the fuck out. But it wasn't until I had my own place. Even in the halfway house, I still had a habit of sleeping with one eye open. If I heard somebody moving around, I would look to see who it was. It was still kind of a fucked up feeling. So it wasn't until I had my first apartment, or actually when I rented a room from somebody, that I felt that I had a decent night's sleep. And even then, I was sleeping on the air mattress. You know, middle of the night I wake up and that motherfucker be out of air. I had to pump it back up again, you know. But that was my first really decent bed outside of a bunk, because I slept on a bunk, which is probably 4, maybe 6 inches of fucking bullshit mattress for like almost 9 years. So even if you did think you were gonna try to get a good night's sleep, your back would be fucked up, you know, your neck would be fucked up, you know. It was horrible, you know. It wasn't a comfortable situation, you know. Your bed, because of the way I'm built, the bed was barely wide enough to hold me, so I touched the wall when I was on the bed, and my leg kind of hung off at the edge of the bed, so I never was comfortable. It was always a fucked up feeling. But yeah, sleep it was just a rough thing. And if you snore, you better get that shit under wraps, because a motherfucker will sock your ass while you're sleeping. Ain't nobody trying to put up with snoring. That's a no-no. If you got some snoring issues, you better go to the doctor, get some shit for your nose or for your throat or something, because you know, if you're in a dorm and you're snoring and people can't sleep, motherfucker will just whoop that ass while you're in the middle of the night. They don't give a fuck. You're not gonna be sleeping and they can't. So yeah, snoring, you better get a handle on it if you're going to the pen, because you can get your wig split for that. And that's what's up with the sleep game.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.